For this, he has taken, we have taken a hub and spoke model, with hub being the Amravati and the spokes being in 5 different zones in Andhra Pradesh. Each zone will have a spoke led by one of the corporate, which is going to get all the industries together in that spoke, in that zone, and try to understand what kind of support can be given to these industries. And they're also linking the universities existing in that zone and trying to get the support to the industry from the university as well. And for the budding entrepreneurs, this spoke is going to conduct the startup hackathons and connecting the universities, getting the students together, and any entrepreneur, budding entrepreneur who has a startup ecosystem, who has a startup and who has an IPR, is going to get a virtual funding concept from this spoke. And the hub is actually going to coordinate all the spokes in a big way. So the concept is as such is in a big way to say, but we have to start somewhere, and this is where, with the guidance of Honorable Minister Nara Lokesh, under the IT Ministry has taken it in a big way. He was able to motivate all the big corporates and get them into this ecosystem so that proper guidance will be given to the budding entrepreneurs and the new existing entrepreneurs as well. And I should clearly say that this ecosystem will really buzz the industry as well, because any problem in the existing industry can be reached here, discussed here, and what is the latest technology can be, what is the problem that can be resolved in that specific to the industry can be discussed and resolved. And there is a scope for private, R&D centers to empanel in this RTIH as well. There's so much to say, because world is, we have to build a better world tomorrow, and this is where we're starting. And Andhra Pradesh as such, it's a big concept with RTIH. It's going to boom the industry. It is going to help the industry. Definitely, I would believe that every budding entrepreneur can definitely get help from this RTIH. And the whole concept of one family, one entrepreneur, it's not a big, big challenge. It's somewhere we need to start, and this is how we started, under the guidance of Honorable Chief Minister and my Minister Nara Lokesh Garu. So definitely I would like to hear good questions on this, and I'm really hoping that we could answer all of them. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So with that, we can move on to our panel discussion. With the comfort of time that we have, I do have a lot of questions both to both our honorable ministers and the panelists as well. Sir, HMIT sir, I would like to start with you. The one family, one entrepreneur vision is a bold and unheard of vision set by any other state. So on a policy and on-ground execution front, what would this entail?
No, if you look at it, both the MSME minister and the IT minister are sitting next to each other. It's a clear message to the entire ecosystem that we need to work together. While RTIH is incubated, RTIH itself is incubated within the IT ministry, but both MSME ministry also has a very, very large role to play. In terms of policy frameworks, and there's already the policies are out there for everyone to now look at, and then also apply for funding, for handholding, and so on and so forth. But what makes it really exciting is the way the team has put the entire life cycle together. So, from your spark, which is the idea discovery, to going all the way to future founders and the catalyst for the early validation, velocity labs for the acceleration. And then, of course, once you go for mass production, then comes MSME, and then once his job is done, that is, once you're in your next orbit, then the industries minister comes into play. But what's really exciting and what's very important for us is to look at how do we create a mechanism where entrepreneurs on the dais, funders like Satish can come in and identify companies that they want to nurture a lot quicker. Because honestly, currently we are not in the ecosystem of in the startup ecosystem. We don't figure out in that trajectory or in that orbit. And I was talking to Rajesh just before we got here, and we were discussing about, in neighboring states, if you're looking at 10 companies, I'm sure I'll find one company to invest in. Whilst in Andhra, we might have to look at a lot more number of companies. You have to evaluate a lot more because the ecosystem is yet to mature. And that's where I believe RTIH and we as a government have a much larger role to play to ensure that the platform is robust and companies can now do well. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you. Mr. Ravi Arora, through the Tata Group, you have institutionalized innovation across all its 100 plus companies, which is mammoth. So when a state like Andhra Pradesh wants to inculcate a culture of innovation in its population, which is again at scale, what do you think are the foundational steps for that?
So I'll try to give the answer in two parts. One is very similar to, for example, Tata Group has about 1 million employees, and equivalent to entrepreneurship is intrapreneurship. That's what we have been trying to drive at Tata Group. In the last 10 years or so, we have been able to actively involve 150,000 employees across the group companies, Tata companies, who have come forward, do some interesting stuff, take some risks, do some bold experiments, and make presentations to the management. Now, in the whole process, what I feel is a risk. VCs are there for risk capital, but VC's pitch, in my view, is from the startup point of view. But and most of these startups today, which are data oriented, they're hungry for data. And there needs to be a VC equivalent from the corporate side as well. Now, I don't know how to solve this problem. But the problem is corporates, large corporates, also need to take equal amount of risk with the startup. And how do we make it happen is a problem that I think we should discuss and we should try and solve. For example, we in Tata Group have an award called Dare to Try, which is given to the team which has failed after trying a very bold idea, which has failed. And what we give to the team is social capital. We recognize them in front of a crowd. We talk about their failure. We talk about the lessons that they have learned. But we need to figure out what could be a good mix. Could be social capital or a financial capital or some risk capital for such failures when a startup which has a good product or a good idea tries to do something at a large corporate which has also taken risk by allowing that startup to work, share data. Can we try and see if we can solve such problems? Can we, for example, in terms of data, can we create a DigiLocker for data so that it is safe and it is only used for experiments? Can we create a Dare to Try escrow account, for example? So these are some thoughts, but I think we need to discuss more, nurture, and because if you want to move fast, as we heard HCM, one family, one entrepreneurship, it gives goosebumps initially when it sinks in. It gives goosebumps. That's wow, this is going to happen. And when I came in last time, when I heard this, I was quite. It took some time to sink in. But I think if once it sinks in, I think we'll find ways and means to do it. If we all are united, if we are all are aligned, I don't see any reason why this won't happen. So thank you, Satri, for this question.
Thank you, Mr. Arora. The dare to fail concept is so important, and this is something we should inculcate at a society level. Make failure, especially in entrepreneurship, less of a taboo. I think that is one of our agendas as well. Now we'll have Mr. Rajesh Abaji. Rajesh and I, we share a common alma mater. So anything interesting that he says today, me, along with a couple of other KGPNs here, are going to claim partial credits for that. Mr. Raj. So, Mr. Rajesh, but on a very serious note, you have solved one of the most complicated problems and then scaled that product nationally, which is, I'm sure, very inspirational for a lot of founders beyond metros. So,
solving.
So for a founder who's building out of, say, Vizag or Vijayawada and wants to scale up from tier 1 and build to national and global markets, what do they do to do it without relocating?
Yeah. See, I think as Lokesh Garu was saying, right? I mean, it's been like 10 years. It's the 11th year we're building BlackBuck, and I was actually working in Guntur for 4 years before I started BlackBuck, and I think this links to the question which you are asking, right? That probably imagining to start up in Guntur is hard because you, like, let's say, most of us, probably, like, my parents, was from an agricultural family background. Like, so by the way, you use the word Srikakulam in your opening talk. I am from Srikakulam. So you're saying that a boy sitting out of Srikakulam, can they imagine? Okay, I'm a boy sat out of Srikakulam and have been able to imagine. So what I was trying to say is that, most of us are from either service families or are from, like, agricultural backgrounds in this part of the, Andhra. Right? For us to really imagine how a dhanda runs versus, let's say, when people are from family business backgrounds, it's actually very different. And the next breed of entrepreneurs and the generation of entrepreneurs are actually very much mission-driven entrepreneurs. I have found very, very less percentage of people who say that, they're starting off, just because they want to make money. I think it's always been driven by purpose. And what that does is that that actually creates the next step to be very, very vague. They don't know what is actually the next step. That was, for me, while I was based out of Guntur, right? And the only, simple thing for me was to essentially step out and take a relocation to Bangalore so that I could, like, interact with entrepreneurs there. And this, I'm talking 2013-14 ecosystem, where probably you can compare that with, maybe today, Vizag, or, maybe 1-2 years, before that. So, and there were hardly companies which probably would be like $100 million valued, right? And if you're $100 million valued, you're like one of the big boys on the Kormangla street, right? So that was the timeline where, I sort of relocated there and did. So to answer your question, Dhatri, indirectly, I think most important to build for the globe from India. I think it's largely more to do with aspiration. It really doesn't really matter which city you are in, right? Once you've cracked the code. Assuming you've cracked the code and you want to really build for the whole world, you can sit out of here and build for the whole world, right? What's really important is if we can be in the ecosystem of Vizag and how can we crack that? And this is what I tell some people is that Bangalore has been an ecosystem where I never had to take out a flight to sort of, meet an investor. Investors used to essentially fly down. So I think capital is one of the very most important ecosystem enabler which we need to solve, because capital is also a validation for the entrepreneur. Let's say, assuming I'm an entrepreneur, I'm building a problem statement. Now, I drink my own Kool-Aid every day. I think whatever I'm building is the best. The most important test is when you go and tell a person that, hey, I'm building this. Would you like give me, a few lakhs of rupees which I'm going to invest and burn in my company? Are you okay with it? Then the person says no, right? That's when you get to know that, okay, I'm not probably building the right direction. So capital generally is a very strong validator of what you're building. And the second biggest thing, which I think Vizag should probably never ever have any problem with, because, which I think yesterday Honorable CM also was mentioning in his, statement that, globally 1 out of 4 people is IT in Indian, and in IT 1 out of 4 is like Andhrites. And even at Blackbuck, I think 40 to 50% of the people in technology are Andhrites, right? So I think Vizag, you will not have a talent density problem. I think if people you find, would be like far richer, would really want to work from this particular place, I think that's the second biggest sort of enabler. And in these enablers typically are launched onto a platform which I think Andhra is very blessed with, because I think this is probably the first government and the people like you, Lokesh, have spoken to, who understand what is innovation, who understand what does it take to build companies, who understand how to create change. He mentioned one statement in his opening speech: we will change the laws, in line with what entrepreneurship needs, right? It's a very heavy statement to make, and I think if the intent is like that, Vizag has a platform which basically is really, catalyzing and lubricating this entire ecosystem to build out. And I think the parts which I talked about, I think capital, which probably is again a network effects ecosystem, I think that's something which probably can easily be solved by, by the frameworks, by the two people sitting on the right and left to me, right? And yes, so I feel, the critical mass has to be solved. Maybe we need those, 10 success stories. If that happens, I think, we just start rolling, and I think we'll find ourselves maybe, 4-5 years down the line, things are activated and we are speaking as if, it was a problem of the past.
Absolutely. We need those hero startups that will then spawn and set off the ecosystem in AP as well. Now I move on to Mr. Satish Andhra. Sir, you've been one of the most prominent voices of capital in the Telugu states. It's great to have an investor lens here through you. What would you say are the steps we need to do to de-risk a young founder?
And when are you moving to Vizag? I think that's the next question I would have.
It's okay now. Yeah. No, I'll definitely be spending a lot of time here in Vizag. Yeah. Datri, I'm from Anantapur. I'm glad it's called Anantapuramu now, not Pur. So, and my last name is.
Ananthapuram now has the in Andhra Pradesh, 26 districts.
Right.
It's the 5th district in per capita income. So Rayalaseema cannot claim backward district anymore.
Sure. So, and my last name is Andhra. So, a lot of people in Hyderabad question why I'm in Hyderabad after the division. But anyway, fun apart. I think one of the key things we need to recognize is that there are different types of enterprises. I think you look at, there could be a lifestyle business, there could be an SME, there would be a startup, there could be a social enterprise. So it's extremely important to look at all kinds of enterprises. From Honorable Chief Minister's perspective, when he talks about one family, one entrepreneur, absolutely you need to address all of these segments to ensure that there is inclusion, there is contribution towards GDP. I know a lot of us are very biased because yes, India needs to build more unicorns. We're the second largest ecosystem right now because China, entrepreneurs are building for the nation now. So US and India, we're building for the globe. So very clearly, let's look at data. A lot of times, tourism industry is as big as IT services industry in this country, right? And if you look at dairy industry, it's 50% of the IT industry in this country. A lot of times, without really looking at data, we get very biased because all of us keep hearing the same stories again and again and again. So the reason why I want to highlight this is it's extremely important we recognize all of these enterprises. MSME needs are very different. Startup needs are very different. The capital needs, it's risk capital, non-linear growth gets rewarded, right? Versus a local enterprise, a small enterprise needs are very different. So how do you connect? So there will be Andhra entrepreneurs building for Andhra, Andhra entrepreneurs building for India, Andhra entrepreneurs building for the region, which includes Southeast Asia and GCC, and Andhra entrepreneurs building for the globe. So we need to look at those aspects as well and kind of connect all the dots. I think what is unique about RTIH, Honorable CM's vision and Lokesh Garu's vision is that if you really look at how do you reduce the risk? You reduce the risk. We have plenty of talent. Now, how do you connect that talent to customers? How do you connect that talent to capital? And how do you connect that talent to infrastructure? How do you institutionalize that framework of connecting an entrepreneur in any of these segments to capital, customer, and infrastructure? And I think RTIH has a very pivotal role to play. And the way it's structured, it's so unique that you've got a hub, you've got the spokes, you've got the industry, you've got the academia, you've got the centers of excellence, and pretty soon there will be a fund, and there'll be a bunch of funds actually, not just one fund. There should be a fund for startups and innovation, there should be a fund for SMEs, there should be a fund for social enterprises, fundamentally, and a mentor network that kind of handholds each of these entrepreneurs depending on their requirements, because in the end, every entrepreneur creates wealth, shares wealth, creates employment, contributes to the GDP, both direct taxes, indirect taxes, and we have to empower all of them. And that's what I think is the vision of Honorable CM and Lokesh Garu, and RTIH, I'm sure, is going to play a pivotal role, and we're all here to support, the entire state to kind of leapfrog everyone out there. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I'll have you talk about the fund in the next round of questions. But just as a follow-up to the answer that you've given, what can we, RTIH and the state of Andhra Pradesh do to better help VCs connect their capital with talent in AP and also enable them to enter the state faster?
I think Rajesh talked about capital validation. I'm a very firm believer that capital chases talent. It's not the other way around, right? So when there is talent, I think investors are greedy. They go everywhere where they can find talent. And also today, entrepreneurs have to look at we're a connected world. While there is geopolitical scenario out there, a best entrepreneur raises capital from where it's plentifully available, builds it where it is inexpensive, markets it where they get a premium, and exits where they get the highest valuation. So you have to have that mindset, right, to be able to do that. So to me, I think let's create success stories. I think you've seen, in Pulala Gopichand Academy, I always take this example, right? Prakash Padukone, not to belittle anyone. I mean, all of these are great sportsters. He set it up 30 years ago. Pulala Gopichand, again, Honorable CM played a big role, obviously supporting the ecosystem. 15 years ago or 10 years ago, he set up the academy, and you've got plenty of players in the top rankings of the world, right? Badminton. Success breeds success. When I see someone becoming successful, I get inspired. And then I say, oh, I can do it too, because, someone I see every day is able to do it. Now I will leapfrog because I take that playbook and I go a step further and I can do it even better. So to me, I think let's absolutely find that talent, support that talent, and showcase that talent. You will be, obviously saying no to many of the investors because they'll all be calling you.
Thank you, sir. That was beautifully put. And a note to my team, please steal the lines. It's a tweet waiting to happen, especially the journey of the entrepreneur that was just articulated. Sir, Honorable MSME Minister, sir, the next question, sir. Andhra Pradesh has been doing really well in the ease of doing business. It's one of the top performers. How do we ensure that the same level of responsiveness is also given to our startups and the smaller MSMEs?
It's the right question. In fact, the entire industry has been aligned to to promote entrepreneurship. For that, Honorable Chief Minister wanted to dedicate an officer at the grassroots level and empanel him and support him in a very big way that, a proper hand-holding system gives to the entrepreneur as well. So we're engaging one officer at every RTIH who is going to collaborate with all the officers at the zonal level, at the district level. And the district level also will have IPOs across each constituency, so that every entrepreneur who want to start something, they're connected to RTIH as well. So that's a very big way to go, but definitely we want to promote entrepreneurship. Honorable Chief Minister's vision for 2047 wants every family should have one entrepreneur who could really prosper the village, his place, and the country as well. Being second highest populated country in this world, we are the biggest consumers in the world, and we can produce for our own needs, and we can also produce for the global needs as well. Honorable Chief Minister believes that if we could establish the ecosystem, definitely India could prosper, and definitely every family could prosper. So that is how the Honorable Chief Minister has been guiding us. Proper ecosystem has to be established, and the department is going to realign ourselves in a way that it could really help the industry as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Professor Ramesh Loganathan, I think you're one of the voices that's worked both in the industry and academia, and which is why we have that much more of an amplification effect from you. So, sir, what can we do to change the mindset of students in universities from a placement first mindset to innovation first mindset?
That's a very, very hard problem in the sense that I think it's the education system, right? And as a society, we are the one that nurture that system, our coaching-based system. So I think we zap any creative juices left in the kids, right, from 9th onwards till 12th. So unfortunately, engineering colleges and other colleges, we get the students. I don't think we make it worse, but we don't make it better either. So it's first thing is to see how can we create more exposure. If you look at it, like when I see any of the, especially students, when they come out with ideas and such, by and large, it's around maybe e-commerce or education, right? Very, very, because their world is so limited, their exposure. They only think of problems in that. That's one big, so I think we need to increase the exposure. It's not an easy problem to solve, but that's one, I think we need to increase the exposure. Inspiration, I mean, can we, like Satish rightly said, success breeds success. Can we showcase local successes, right? And so that they believe it's possible. If somebody from a neighboring town or has done it, they believe it's possible. So I think the inspiration is something that's very important. We did this, I mean, I know Lokesh Garu said things paused for 5 years, but before that, when we were trying the FinTech Valley, we did try to create a culture of trying to, I mean, hackathons. I'm not a big believer in student startups, right? I mean, students should study and they should graduate. But the inspiration should come there. Ideas, thinking about it, like just doing a hackathon to think about a problem to solve. Think about customers and, right? I think we need to create those, more and more of those fora where they get to experiment a little bit with ideas, and like it may not become a startup, but that's okay. But they start to think. Today, it's a very job-based as an end outcome, but otherwise their day-to-day life is exam-based. They're just preparing for an exam, and they hope that the good marks, good grades will get them a good job. And they think life is set. Life is not set, right? There's a lot more to life than that. I think we need to make them experience, and that we need to create this in a good way. I mean, like connect them to markets. Many hackathons happen, but there it's more about just building something, writing some code. Can we create hackathons where they think about customers and problems, users and problems, and try to solve that? I think that at scale, I think the framework that RTH is creating in the hub and spoke model is a good framework to devise something at the central level and roll it out all the way up to like maybe even a district level, and have hackathons that roll up to a state level. But doing it in a way that's very user, customer, problem focused is very important. I feel that alone can bring about change in mindset, and that change in mindset is the starting point.
Thank you, sir. At RTIH, we're really excited to launch something we're calling InnoTribe, which essentially is going to be an RTIH accredited network of entrepreneurship cells across Andhra Pradesh. And through that, we aim to democratize the aspiration of entrepreneurship in itself, and also ensure that student innovators find that pipeline to enter the startup system.
Ratri, one interjection. Lokesh, you generally do things with speed. I have one small idea. When Professor Ramesh was speaking, a lot of institutes and schools, they are very delayed at helping students decide whether they want to take placements in their final year, because they generally stumble upon an idea by third, fourth year. And my own alma mater has implemented this very recently, that and this was there in all Ivy Leagues, obviously. It's there in IIT Bombay, it's there in BITS. You can defer your placements in fourth year, start off, and if the fear of failure, like let's say if you fail, if nothing works out, you want to pick up a job, you can actually within 2 years come back and sit back again in placements. So this is something in Andhra, like you can look at doing it with speed. A safety net. And then because in Kharagpur, I mean, lot of us, lot of kids, like lot of friends wanted to, but then it's like that pressure of, okay, our parents thought that this kid will graduate, get a job and support family, and then now I don't even have a job, right? So that one safety net you can create from like day one.
That was a really good suggestion, Mr. Rajesh. Mr. Madan Patki, you worked at grassroots, and then you also scaled up enterprises from grassroots, which is where it really matters. So for you, it's well known that grassroots innovators are great at Jugaad. Now, how do we take this Jugaad and help them build scalable, investable and income producing enterprises?
Wonderful. Namaskar, and wonderful to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's fascinating to listen to a bunch of views, very, very energizing. As I was sitting here, I was just reflecting on my own startup journey. I started off in 2000, much before anybody could spell entrepreneurship. Even now, I struggle without word autocorrect happening, whether it's N-E-U-R or N-U-E-R or whatever. I sometimes believe the root word for entrepreneurship is antarprerana, right? And that should be the one, right? It's all about inner motivation, right? And perhaps we should, Lokesh, you have to start off by replacing entrepreneurship with antarpreneurship or something like that. Entrepreneurship. That's a great one, right? So, and at that time, to what Rajesh was saying, there were barely a handful of us in Bangalore who were dreaming of being a startup. In fact, TiE started in Bangalore in '99. I'm on the TiE Global Board. Nandan Nilekani was the president of TiE Bangalore. And I still remember attending one of the first meetings where there were like 8-10 of us sitting around a table and asking some naive questions like if you don't return equity, will you get jailed and stuff like that, right? So, but it's come a long way. The nation has moved a long way. In fact, I was also reflecting very fondly on the Honorable CM's foresightedness that you talked about. We were invited to Andhra as Merit Track in 2003 to conduct India's first ever online graduate employability test called GET, and we did it online across all the districts of Andhra. I'll never forget that because everything that could go wrong went wrong. But that set the tone for what a digital first assessment system could look like, right? So to your point about Dhatri, about the whole vision of one family, one entrepreneur, and you were talking about data. So I think there's a 3D framework in play here, right? Any entrepreneurship model has to be democratized. Today it's getting there. A lot more to be done at the grassroots, right? Can every youth out of any village dream that, yes, I can do that, right? That relatable role models that we were talking about. Two, it has to be distributed. It has to be in every village. That's the concept of mass entrepreneurship. That how do you get every village the equal opportunity that anybody in a Vizag or a Hyderabad or a Bangalore or a Delhi has to access the same kind of resources and knowledge that I can still do it. And third, it has to be digital. In the world of AI, the world is really the market, and I think we are at an inflection point of the same 2000s when you can really reimagine everything with the power of AI, and that's the power of the moment now. I think every big idea has a tipping point, and I can really see the tipping point. We're getting to the tipping point to the ecosystem that we're seeing in Andhra and places like Vizag. From the aspect of taking grassroots ideas and building it up, again, just summarizing some of the things that we said, there are three things at play. One is the seed. How do you make every young person right from school to start think about entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial thinking? Now, whether one becomes an entrepreneur or not is a moot point, but entrepreneurial thinking is a critical 21st century skill, right? So how do we embed that seed in every individual's mind that yes, I can think entrepreneurially, I can think jugaad, I can think of solving problems, right? The beauty about India is there are problems everywhere, right? Every problem is an opportunity in disguise, and if you can capture those problem statements to turn into opportunities, we're sitting on multi-billion-dollar opportunities, right? Second is, what is the soil, which is where RTIH comes into play, right? How do we make the soil fertile enough for that seed to sprout? It could be academic institutions helping with incubation, it could be local capital available, it could be banks willing to go the extra mile to say, yes, I'll lend to you, right? It could be local relatable role models which says, if this joker can do it, why can't somebody else? Which is what happens in entrepreneurial ecosystems. And the last part of it is climate, which is where Lokesh Garu and you were talking about, sir, is that how do you create an environment of policy that is supportive of the entire seed and soil, right? How do we make sure that access to capital is easy? How do we make sure that ease of doing business, I think it's a big deal. In fact, at GAME, we had helped one state decriminalize 1,100 issues around in the policy which can imprison an entrepreneur, and we brought it down to some 170, right? So we need to do all of that so that entrepreneurs can go out there, bat on the front foot and say, listen, I can hit every ball for a six, right? That is the kind of confidence that we need to do. So we need to make sure that there's an orchestra of seed, soil and climate. And I'm sure with all the initiatives that are happening here, we can build this up. In fact, one last point I would like to say is that at the soil level, we need to be able to infuse, as you were saying, logistics, right? How do we make sure that there are common infrastructure available even at the village level? So if there's a women artisan producing something, she doesn't have to struggle to take packages to 30 kilometers out and then find a logistics network and returns and all that. So can we do that ease of doing business from an infrastructure standpoint? Lastly, I know we haven't talked much about the two-letter AI word, which I believe is also all-inclusive. So I believe that India needs not more of Gen AI, but we need more of Jan AI. That we need to be able to take AI to the masses. And we're actually launching a large initiative called Jan AI, where every village can it be a hotbed of AI innovation for solving local problems by local youth. And I think that opportunity to do that is fascinating. So look forward to working together at the Global Alliance for Mass Entrepreneurship. We're really excited. We have the Vizag Entrepreneurship Mission that we have launched a few months ago, supported by RTIH, and I think we are experimenting a bunch of things here, and I'm sure, Andhra will be able to set the entrepreneurship model, as we were talking about, to the rest of the world very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Really like the seed, soil and climate concept that you've introduced us to. Hopefully through RTIH as well, we have something called MINE, which is essentially a micro incubator network across Andhra Pradesh, where we have mobile incubators traveling to the remotest parts of the state and taking innovation and the incubation ecosystem right to the doorstep of the grassroots innovator. He need not go searching around for the right ecosystem. HMIT, sir, we come back to you once again. Sir, you want to make entrepreneurship a statewide aspiration. So how can we ensure that cohorts like women, rural entrepreneurs, MSMEs, students, the mission reaches all of them? That is one. The second one, sir, we have a lot of investors, students, innovators watching us today. So what is the signal that AP wants to send out to them?
I'm getting all the tough questions. No, I think, to be honest, well, I'll answer your questions, but I think the entrepreneurs in the room, first thing you need to realize is you need to have fire in your belly. Please understand that. There is an example for us, that is our Chief Minister. Just look at his journey. What was Hyderabad in 94? Nothing. He took a barren land. He got L&T to build a round building called now Cyber Tower. Then he managed to steal Bill Gates out of a cocktail networking dinner, pitched Hyderabad, got them to do their center. ISB was coming up in Maharashtra. He hijacked the flight that was going to Tamil Nadu, Madras back then, to Hyderabad, served breakfast with his own hands to all the who's who of India to get ISB to Hyderabad. Let's look at what is he doing now. The quantum mission that's getting created in Amravati. When he first called me and he said, "Yaar, I want to do this quantum thing," I'm like, what is he even talking about? So I went to ChatGPT. I said, ChatGPT, give me a 2-page note on what is quantum, what is the ecosystem, what does it mean? But please understand that he didn't leave it there, right? He follows up, the persistence, perseverance. So why am I sharing this with you is entrepreneurs here, you need to understand that there will be 99 naysayers. It won't happen. Why are you wasting your time? But it takes that 1 second every morning to say, no, I'll go get it done. And I'm sure Rajesh will agree with me on this. I'm sure, family members themselves are like, నీకు ఎందుకు రాబోయ్ అన్నీ నువ్వు హాయిగా ఉద్యోగం తీసుకో నీకు మంచి డబ్బులు వస్తాయి కానీ ఐఐటీకి ఎందుకు పంపించారు డబ్బులు దండగా నీ పైనని దీస్ ఆర్ ద క్వశ్చన్స్ దట్ వి గెట్ ఆస్క్డ్ బట్ దట్ ఫైర్ ఇన్ ద బెల్లీ is what all of you need to have. You need to drive, you need to be patient, you need to be persistent. Coming back to the question that is asked here, right? I think there's a lot of work that we need to do. So, as Datri is heading RTIH as in 2 young ministers, relatively young, now I have a lot more grey beard, but relatively young ministers, we have to look very inward looking. With all the panelists here, we need to sit, we need to work, we need to analyze, we need to introspect the changes that we need to bring. Let's accept one fact. It is not easy to do business in India. Let's accept the reality. While every one of us is trying to, top the ease of doing EODB or now Andhra may speed of doing business, let's accept fact that it is not easy to do business in India. But what I'm promising to every entrepreneur in this room is Andhra is a platform willing to change. We are here, we are willing to look at every regulation, law to make your lives easy, to really deliver in spirit on the ease of doing business. We spoke about, logistics in the village. It spoke about the artisan who wants to supply the product to the US, or to the grandmom who's making pickles at an industrial scale and sending it to Europe, or the households making tapes from Kaja and trying to send it all the way to Southeast Asia or even to Australia. Logistics matter. Certification matters. So this is where the entire ecosystem sort of comes together. And that's exactly what I'm looking forward to working with, all the leaders here. Because you've gone through it, right? You've been through it. You understand. The wealth of knowledge that's here on this dais is not there in the big fives, with all due respect to them. Because you've tried, you've tested, you failed fast, you've sprung up again, you've run. Satish has incubated so many amazing companies. I'm very envious in the way he's done it. So there's a lot that, the companies can come and give us input on. And that's exactly what we want to do here. And that's the only way, as you rightly said, the rural, someone who's made a simple, tasty, sweet. That's a big business in India. 1.6 billion people. And we love our sweets. We love food. That's a big business. Millets is a big business. Right? There's such amazing ideas in rural that we can harness. But this is where I think it's very easy to say that we'll look at everything, we'll evaluate everything, we'll fund everything. But practically speaking, it's impossible to scale at that level. But how do you create an enabling environment that will stand the test of time and politics? So beyond the people who are sitting on this dais, right, our lifetime, they should still continue to succeed. And that requires an institutional framework. And that is what, as young ministers, we offer to the people of Andhra Pradesh. Please understand, 17 out of 25 ministers are first-timers. So what we bring is raw energy, passion to change things. While I know it's not a dais to talk politics, but please understand, while the political party now has 4.5 years of legacy under its belt, but the team now that's representing is very young. The last part I would like to add is the capacity building that we're working at a governance framework. Yesterday we signed an MOU with the Singapore government, and the first point we inked is building capacity, where officers like Datri will go to Singapore, understand that what is the framework required. Yeah, we can keep changing laws, right? But then Lokesh is here today, Lokesh might not be sitting here tomorrow. How does the framework continue beyond me or beyond individuals? I'm sure Rajesh knows this, right? When you started your company, it was all about you and you, right? Everything would come to you, but then you'd bring in systems, processes, frameworks. That's exactly what states need. And only then will we thrive. And that has been the cornerstone of what we want to achieve in this term. As you will hear that we'll do, there's this startup, there's that land given, this is there, that's great. But what's beyond us? The frameworks. The state should continue to thrive. The state should continue to accelerate towards the $2.4 trillion economy. Only then the Vikasit Bharat mission can be delivered. Thank you.
Thank you so much for articulating that, sir. Mr. Arora. So it is. This was. Note to team again. So, Mr. Arora, sir, we keep saying that corporates are the partners that we have at RTIH are our real strength. How do we ensure that? What are we doing to ensure that corporates are co-builders in this journey with RTIH?
I think Satish mentioned that capital chases talent. I think it's no different. Even corporates also chase good products, good companies, good services, good talent. So, in fact, everybody chases good talent and good money. So, there's no doubt about it. So, I think if you're talking about RTIH and the role of corporates, I think Lokesh Garu mentioned about ease of doing business. But when you mention about ease of doing business, I think the context is obviously mostly startups. How can we nurture startups faster? But I think, at least in Tata Group, what we say is, how do Tata companies become most attractive corporates for startups? That's what we try to do it. Can we do something so that we become the most attractive? Because we are there in almost every industry. We have thousands of problems. In fact, starting Monday, we are starting a program for shop floor workers and supervisors, asking them to identify problems which can be solved using AI. We are targeting about 15,000 shop floor workers in this month, to help them identify problems. Then we train them, and then we put them with mentors who have done AI projects in Tata companies, and try and see how we can scale. In fact, my team does a lot of work in identifying startups, giving them use cases. We publish use case every month on an open website. Startups apply, participate, we discuss, and then when it comes to giving an opportunity to startup, we find there are a little bit of rough edges. It could be, most of them are due to legal systems and stuff like that, which I don't want to go into detail, but we are trying to solve it. So I think we can accelerate this journey if we can have an equivalent of 3PL, for example, since you are here. Can we have a 3PL for startups to ride on and do some use cases in corporates, which can de-risk the whole thing? So this is a big problem. De-risking to work with startups is a big subject. It's not an easy, but I think there's a role that 3PL can play here, equivalent of 3PL, not really 3PL, but I'm just drawing a parallel. So corporates are hungry. If there is something that we can do to bridge the gap between this hunger of corporates and those barriers that I'm talking about, I think we can accelerate a lot when it comes to helping this vision of one family, one entrepreneurship. And let me go to our very similar to what we've been talking about, HCM's vision. Our chairman, he participates. He sort of when it comes to, I talked about recognizing failures. There's one of those years when we didn't have any award for the failure. So there's one evening in which there are about 15 awards given. There are 15,000 nominees, and there are 15 awards, so 1 per 1,000. More difficult than IIT JEE Advanced or JEE Mains to win an award in Tata Innovation Ecosystem. So there was no award for Dare to Try, and he was quite upset. He said, I'm very unhappy. While we have given 14 awards, but for me the most favorite award is Dare to Try, which means there is something which is missing. Why are people not trying bold ideas? So there was a message, and that is a message. And when we have leaders like HCM and our chairman, and I think, as I said, we all can come together and help their vision, accomplish that vision of our leaders. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Just to add to that, for any of you who's curious as to what the 17 plus partners that are working with RTIH today are doing, they are literally leading the whole initiative, driving it on themselves. We have corporate innovation challenges wherein, as Mr. Arora just mentioned, corporates throw their problem statements open for startups to work on, that then go on to become procurement channels and work orders for startups. They're also trying to open up their test beds, their labs, so that startups can have access to the data sandboxes that they can work on. They are also anchoring certain sectors across our hub and spoke network. And also imagine the best people in the corporates that are coming in now as mentors in the RTIH network. So we're really grateful for all the support that we're getting, sir, from the corporate and the knowledge partner network that we have in RTIH. Mr. Rajesh, we come back to you now. You've mentioned how it's so important to create hero startups. So we do have a lot of startup founders now working. So what can RTIH and Government of AP now do to help them in their scale journey?
I think, if the startups are created right, I think that, I'm being very, very, upfront and obvious here, that they really don't need much of help. You have to be around them and ensure that we're not doing anything stupid that they really, say ki I'm bumming Vizag and I'm moving out of here. So I think getting something created is actually, so basically, let's say assuming startups begin, let's say assuming 100 startups or let's say 1,000 startups, begin, right? Getting to the first institutional raise and getting to something really working, right? That, that fall is the highest. Probably 1,000 may say, less than 10 or 7 or 8 will get there. Once it's working, the chances of these companies probably, IPOing maybe 30 to 40%, right? So literally after it's created, after the founders know what they want to do, how to figure things out, etc. I think, letting them be and not disturbing them too much is how I will put it as. And if they come to you guys for help, figure it out or at least act like you're helping so that they tell the good things about you guys. Right? Yeah.
Point taken. We're just going to let them be if they already started up and doing well.
Yeah. You'll land me up in trouble, boss.
Mr. Satish sir, you're already helping us do this, but I just wanted it to come from you. The Alternative Investment Fund, especially a state-backed AIF that we're trying to build, what kind of design principles do we put in place so that the private capital is not hesitant to invest in that?
Yeah. I know Bhaskar Garu is here, is very actively, obviously working on this, and it's been a dream of Lokesh Garu also. So I think first thing we need to do is make sure that it's privately run and it's neutral, right? And it's very focused. The most important thing is that a lot of states do a mistake of course, we need to create a fund to support entrepreneurs in the state, that's important. But also to create that escape velocity and to create the success, we should be a bit more flexible. One of the things we could do is that if you have significant operations in AP, right? Even the founding team could be in Bangalore, could be in Hyderabad, could be in Chennai, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying all of them, a portion of them. If they have significant operations in AP, right? A small piece of the fund could be allocated to them. So I think when we create a platform like that today, if you really look at Startup India took birth 10 years ago, a 10,000 crore allocation by government, Honorable Prime Minister, all credit to the Commerce Department, right? DPIIT. The 10,000 crore had a multiplier effect of another 10. So 100,000 crores went into the startup ecosystem, right? So very similarly now, if you look at, there's a deep tech fund, there's an AI mission, there's a quantum mission, there is RDI fund of 1 lakh crores that is recently announced. So there are several initiatives. There is Self-Reliant India, which is an MSME fund. That's again another 10,000 crores. One of the things we need to do is leverage all of these schemes. State will definitely contribute and the private investors will contribute. But let's make it a neutral platform, privately run, and run for profit, and run on merit primarily, right? So that it'll only grow and become really big. I think that's the plan, and that's the structure. All of you and Bhaskar Garu, everybody is kind of putting into place. And I believe that, like I said, we should have at least 3 funds or 4 funds, from my perspective. We should have an innovation fund. I think there are some ideas, how do we jumpstart innovation? Like you talked about, speed of business is the tagline of AP today. We talk about a lot of deep tech stuff. We have fundamental problems in this country about deep tech, and you talked about it, ease of doing business. Today you can't import chips. You got to go to Singapore, you got to go to Taiwan to get the chips, primarily, right? In China, in certain areas, if you do phase 1 trials of biotech, you are allowed to commercialize that as long as you pass through the safety test. In India, you have to wait for several years to get through phase 2 trials, which is phase 1 is safety, phase 2 is clinical efficiency. So there are certain things, certain knobs that we can turn, right? Very similar to what was done in STPI. very similar to what is being done in GIFT today. GIFT is outside of the purview of SEBI and RBI. That is to fast track. I think as a state, we have certain levers to kind of create. So we should have an innovation fund, we should have an MSME fund, we should have a social fund, and we should also have a women entrepreneur fund. I think we should have multiple funds, absolutely, which are all run by very, very efficient fund managers, right? So that we can create this ecosystem that will evolve and make us, all of us, proud and give enough opportunities to the entrepreneurs.
Thank you, sir.
Ratri, I want to add one thing. On this, the scaling part and early startup part, right? Government is always one of the biggest customer of services. The amount of spend government does, right from technology to, let's say, obviously at a national level, defense to logistics to etc., right? And like in many countries, lot of startups, I think 30 to 40% startups are building for government as well, right? So in that direction, like we can probably review every spend, and generally we find that it's not a very, open area to really go and innovate. And if that we can open up, that can actually give a lot of startups rooms to really grow within the state for the state consumption.
Absolutely, sir. You keep talking about making AP the GovTech capital of the world. That is something we have in cards, where we really are serious about developing GovTech, civic tech solutions here in AP, and that becomes the epicenter of innovation in the governance front.
That's in full control of yours. You can just enable and debottleneck that.
No, see, the matter of fact also is that the entire speed, right? I mean, if you look at the mojo of Andhra Pradesh now, it's all about speed of doing business. Where did it all start? It started with a conversation that Chandra sir of Tata Group and I had while I was dropping him at the airport. So he came to meet the CM. So one way the industries minister, the other way I went with him. I said, yeah, we don't get time. So might as well steal that 40 minutes in the car so I can do my rapid question fire round. I wish I recorded, I should have got this camera and put it there record. I asked him, I said, sir, this time around, what would your advice be to me? He said, speed. His point was, please understand that today, pretty much all large organizations are doing north of billions of dollars of investment. Speed matters. A 6 months delay, once projects get grounded, entire business plan goes for a toss. Why am I sharing that with all of you here is that conversations that we have are very serious, are in-depth, and the state actually acts on it. It's not, acha baat hui hai, I got a chance to meet Chandra sir, took a selfie and we forgot. No. In fact, that's not a priority. Our priority is more, what is the feedback? What are the areas that we can improve? So as Satish has also shared that, lot of changes, it could be regulatory changes. And that's why I keep jokingly saying, in Andhra Pradesh, we have the double engine bullet train Sarkar. So you have Namo, as we say. So Namo is no longer just Narendra Modi ji, it's Naidu and Modi ji together. So the idea is our ability to champion policies at the national level is also something, we have appetite for it. And the beauty is Government of India also is recognizing the fact that incremental reforms are not going to get us where we have to. The beauty is that today Government of India, like when I talk to Piyush ji or Ashwini ji or even Nirmala madam, they're all like, you tell us what we have to do, but double digit karna hai. We have to grow at 11-12%. You tell us. Transformative changes we're willing to do. I think that is exciting. And that is something where I'm looking forward to working with leaders on the dais, off the dais. Because tell us the changes that you look forward to. It could be in biotech, in chips, our ability to import, our relationships even with countries, our neighboring countries. These are things that, Government of India is very serious, passionate about. And Andhra Pradesh is one state that can champion those conversations. Please understand that Google's investment in Andhra now sounds great, but it took us 13 months of hard work. We followed on, we worked on regulation, data privacy, lawful intercept definition, data embassies, to retrospective taxation. We really worked on it. It was done in the interest of our great country. our nation. In the process, Andhra had first more advantage, so be it. If other states are sleeping, I can't help it, no? Like quantum mission. We are not looking at just bringing a quantum computer, but we are now working on how can I tap the entire funds available in the quantum mission, build the ecosystem, now go back to manufacturing. So what you will see 10 years from now is actual manufacturing, research, manufacturing actually happening in the Amravati cluster. So that is what is required, and that is what I'm looking for to working with all of you. See, with all fairness, I'm a reasonable expert in politics and policy making. I'm not an expert in logistics. So I look forward to working with Rajesh on logistics. I look forward to working with Satishji on how do I create the ecosystem for fundraising. But you need to challenge us, you need to push us, and only then we can create this vibrant ecosystem that can not only make Andhra Pradesh proud, but India proud.
Honorable Minister for MSME, sir. Sir, for OFOE, one family, one entrepreneur vision, we really need to bank on our regional strengths and economies of scale. How do we make this mass movement through the cluster approach that we have and through MSME, sir?
That's a nice question. Firstly, you should recognize the ministry as such. Honorable Chief Minister has aligned the departments in a very passionate way. No, in the country, no other state has this ministry. MSME, SERP and NRI relations and empowerment. It actually connects to the grassroots level to the global level. We have SERP department where 90 lakh women work for empowerment, their financial empowerment, their social empowerment. So we are starting with SERP department to adopt one family, one entrepreneur. There's a target of 1 lakh women should convert into entrepreneurship every year. Honorable Chief Minister has given to us. And MSME department is closely working to scale this up. We are trying to enlarge to maximum more than 1 lakh or 2 lakhs. We're trying to create the ecosystem, getting the private players, nurture the women, form the value chain, create a brand, and so that there are a lot of verticals altogether. They have food processing, they have gifting culture, they have a lot of good ideas which can be taken into a global value. So the government is clearly working with the private partners to empower these women. SERP is actually adopting in a big way with one family, one entrepreneur. And as such, MSME is closely working with SERP department and RTIH and along with the Ministry of Industry as well to connect the global value. And we also have the NRT ministry here, which is closely working with all the NRIs. There is a large Telugu diaspora which is across the globe. We're inviting them, connecting them to the state, trying to build the network so that the market access can be, connected to the global value, and all the products that are being manufactured or being produced here can be scaled up to the global value chain. So there's a big way to go, but we are starting here. We're aligning the departments to work. We're building the policies to get into that line, and we're taking the private partnership. We're taking the help of RTIH in a big way. It has to be a closer connect, and we are also taking the cluster approach. As such, Honorable Chief Minister has divided the entire state in a cluster approach so that the large industries are connected to the ancillary units. So the logistic cost can be reduced. As such, we have automotive sector in the Anantapur. We have a petrochemical side in the across the Ramayapatnam port, and we have bulk drug across North Andhra, and we have steel industry in the North Andhra. We have IT hub in Visakhapatnam. We have quantum hub in the Amravati. As such, there's a lot of, and the drone hub in Kurnool. So as such, the entire state, and we're adopting the futuristic technologies as well. We have a aerospace policy. We have a space technology companies. We're inviting the private players. We're inviting the defense policy, where we're incentivizing based on getting the rights from original equipment manufacturer. So a lot of policies have been built to adopt, to bringing the industries to state of Andhra Pradesh, and also creating an ecosystem where the cluster approach can be taken in a big way, incentivized, and we also have a big thing called 175 MSME parks. Honorable Chief Minister believes that getting the employment close to the city is not the right way. He thinks that, the rural people should really get an employment. So he has created 175 MSME parks. So these rural people can really start somewhere with, better ecosystem, better facilities. With, these parks can really accommodate them in a big, with a good support, where their capital investment and operating investment can be reduced. And there's a big way that, Honorable Chief Minister is also trying to create a cluster, common facility centers in these industrial parks. So there's a lot of ecosystem which it is really going on, and we are inviting the private, players to collaborate with the government so that, we really could take it to the global value, global chain. Thank you for that. Thank you.
I think what Srinath spoke about is the verticals. I'm sure if anyone visited my sessions earlier, you would have heard this from me. Vertical and horizontal integration in a cluster. Horizontal is where my ministry comes in, which is education, right? Let's take solar cell manufacturing. There's so much of research that can still happen. So I'm working on global education institutions who have expertise in certain segment. So like James Cook University to look at aqua, right? University of New South Wales to look at solar cell. How can we do rapid prototyping from ingot to testing, wafer, the whole 9 yards? So entrepreneurs like you who have an idea, who understand material science, can actually go there and then incubate. So vertical is set. The ecosystem companies are in. The horizontal is where we come in. As you rightly said, testing. Certification. Air conditioning heat pump. Again, Blue Star gave me this feedback. I don't know how many of you know, 50% of India's air conditioners are manufactured in Andhra. With the new agreement with LG, Daikin and Blue Star, it's going to go to 70%. But there is no certification agencies there. So anytime a heat pump that's made for Europe or anywhere, you have to get certified. We need to send it to Germany or various other countries. Our engineers have to go, minimum 2 crores is spent just on certification. The question that was asked to me is like, why is it not there in this ecosystem? That's when it struck to me. So we're doing this glass city, drone city and so on and so forth. So certification, testing, common facilities itself becomes a huge draw for entrepreneurs to actually come and look at. So just to add on to what you said. Thank you, Srinath.
Yeah, thank you, sirs. I just have 2 more questions and I request my guests to give crisp answers in the interest of time. Professor Ramesh, we do have brilliant research talent in India. We see that often, but then the commercialization of research is a little poor. How do we help, sir, this lab to industry journey?
I think first off, we need to get those good research institutions, right? I'm with an institution that our CM Garu created, right? Ground up. Like Lokesh Garu said, ISB was brought in, but Triple IT was created ground up, his vision, right? And he created, and I think today it ranks in 25, 26 years, it ranks now among the top 1 or 2 in the country for AI research, right? And maybe top 5 in the country for overall computer science research. I think we need those institutions to come up first. I mean, lab to land requires good quality research happening. So on one end, we're going grassroots, intent entrepreneur. On the other side, you need to get those, like Satish said, technology for the world, right? Or the innovation for the world. That will by and large be based on some deep science, deep tech. So I think there needs to be those research centers created first. The mindset, I think, when the vision of the government that day was like you create an institution within the government framework, it will become yet another government academic institution. It was kept outside the government framework. Today we are a private university, our sole promoter was the state government. And I think that mindset is very important. So it should be started with that mindset that you're doing research and with the intent to commercialize, the Israeli model. I don't think we have much of it in India today. IITs had a long way before, and now they're changing last 10, 20 years, but still very slow to change. Institutions like Triple IT are good in this sense because we have to generate our own funds. We have very strong intent to commercialize, but we are limited in bandwidth in terms of what we can do. We're doing good, but we could do much better. If you create a new breed of institutions with that intent, Israeli model is what I would suggest. Create those hubs, small hubs, PG research institutions. Teaching is not the focus. I think that is required with that new mindset is what I would think can bring about a significant shift.
Thank you, sir. Through the numerous centers of excellence that we're going to have in the RTIH network, hopefully we do an actionable interaction with our knowledge partners and research institutions. Mr. Madan, the last question to you is, how do we make entrepreneurship a mass movement and not just an urban privilege?
Very wonderfully said. I think the first thing begins by, and I've seen it happen, the miracles happen. We've taken literally zero educated, illiterate village youth, and in 6 months to a 1,000-hour intervention, we've transformed them to be English speaking, digital illiterate entrepreneurs, professionals. We've done it for over 100,000 youth across 100 districts. So much so that two of my rural youth and I are the first day for sure, the entire incoming batch of all civil servants of the country, where we talk about transforming rural poverty. That's the power. So at RTIH, if we can shout from the rooftops that there is unlimited potential in every youth, right? Make them believe that they are capable of miracles, miracles will happen, right? So I think that is the second thing is the journey that we've been talking about of youth. 4 stages quickly. One is inspire. How do we inspire them? How do we create aspirations in them to become entrepreneurs? How do we get them to respire where they start? And how do we get them to perspire where they start growing? If we can speed up this journey of inspire, aspire, respire, perspire through RTIH and get as many people to experience that journey through a pyramid, the speed, Lokesh Garu, that you're talking about, if we can hit that and we fail fast, fail forward, it'll inspire people to say this is all doable, and that's what we need, right? I'm a big lover, and I'll end with that of the movie Kung Fu Panda, right? How a common panda can become a Kung Fu warrior is all by belief and by the ecosystem around shouting and celebrating successes. And I think RTIH is ideally positioned to make that happen, and it will happen. That's the belief that maybe we'll leave this panel with. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This conversation was so rich that maybe I'm biased, but I feel like there should be a part 2 just for RTIH, or we should probably make a mini series out of this conversation. I know, sir. So on that note, they say that all good things must end, especially a time-bound panel session. I think I'm here being urged to end this. So on that note, thank you so much to our honorable ministers. Sir, you both have set the vision for innovation that now gives us the mandate and the momentum that we need. Thank you so much to my distinguished panelists. All of your inputs were really honest, actionable and thought-provoking, and we're going to make sure to take it forward. A big thank you to all the entrepreneurs that are attending today. You are the reason why this ecosystem exists and why there's an urgency for us to build it as well. A huge thank you to the audience who've been standing for over an hour to listen to the panel discussion. It's really great to see this. And my sincere gratitude to CII for enabling this pivotal discussion to happen and for your continued support to the state of Andhra Pradesh. Thanks a lot. Over to you, ma'am.
So I must say, power pack, energetic, innovative, thoughtful and visionary session. I request all the audience to give them a big round of applause, and a huge round of applause in fact, so that they hear that we are appreciating this session so much. Thank you so much to all the panelists and honorable ministers. Now to give respect and in honor, may I request Honorable Minister Mr. Nara Lokesh to facilitate our co-chair and esteemed panelists. May I request, sir, if you can come forward with a token of appreciation from Government of Andhra Pradesh and CII. Honorable Minister of MSME, Shri Kondapalli Srinivas Garu. Mr. Ravi Arora. Yeah, that's it. Mr. Rajesh Yabaji. Mr. Madan Padaki. And Professor Ramesh. Thank you so much. Big round of applause for all the panelists, please. It's an opportunity for all of us to witness the exchange of MOUs. May I now request Honorable Minister Mr. Nara Lokesh and Kondapalli Srinivas to initiate the exchange of MOUs, please. I would like to call upon AP Vaga, the Andhra Pradesh VFX Animation and Gaming Association, through this collaboration, they will establish a center of excellence in AVGC XR right there at Amravati. It will also extend incubation support for startups in the media and entertainment sector, helping them to scale cutting-edge innovations and take Andhra Pradesh to the forefront of the digital creative revolution. Can we have a big round of applause for them, please? Next, we have Startup UAE. We request if only 2 representatives can come on the stage, please. Startup UAE. This MOU will launch a startup exchange program giving RTIH incubated startups access to international markets, investors and network across to UAE. It will also create a bridge between RTIH and UAE based innovation entities. Next we have Quantum AI. Do we have Quantum AI? Okay. We move on to the AIM and AIG. Are they here? Yeah. Can we have a big round of applause for them, please? In partnership with AIG AIM, they're proudly launching IU Nova, a healthcare-focused incubator cell that will nurture transformative health tech startups, positioning Andhra Pradesh as a leader in health tech innovation. Startup Runway. Are they there? Okay. Next up we have Startup Runway. This is the partnership with Startup Runway. They are going to launch a US market exchange program who's going to provide startups with mentorship, soft landing support, investor access and entry pathways into American markets. Can we have a big round of applause for them, please? And the last we have is RRP Electronics Limited. So RRP Electronics Limited, this is a OSAT project. This is a OSAT project which is talking about outsourcing semiconductor assembly facility, and they're investing around 10,000 crore of worth of investment. Can we have a big round of applause, please? May I request all the ministers as well as the panelists to come together for the photo opportunity, please. Can we have a photo op, please? Thank you so much, and it's a great audience, I must say, and please, I applaud everybody who's been here, and thank you. With this, we close the session, and we will be moving on to the next session shortly at 12. Thank you.
Oh, hi. How are you? Good.
Speaking at the Ministry of Fine Auto Manufacturing Plant yesterday.
We take the pleasure to welcome Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable Ministers, BC Janardhan Reddy Garu, Kottipati Ravi Kumar Garu, Sri Satish Reddy Garu, Sri Ramohan Naidu Garu, Vijayanand Garu. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining. We begin with the MOU exchange. Firstly, from Infrastructure and Investment, APMB, Sri James Bakshi ji, for various projects, 5,000 crores, 3,000 and 2,500, creating an employment of 3,000. Mr. Bakshi. GMR Energy Limited. Department is Energy. Organization GMR Energy Limited, investing about 8,500 crores, creating around 3,000 employment. And may I call upon GMR Weil, investing about 20,000 crores, creating around 1,80,000 employment. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. GMR Weil. Check. Next up, Industries and Commerce Department and the company Vari Group, investing about 20,000 crores, creating 2,000 employment. Straight గా వెళ్ళిపోతాం ఫస్ట్ నుంచి ట్రాన్స్ఫర్డ్ దిస్ ఆర్డర్ ఎస్ లాస్ట్ Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And may I call upon Vari Group, investing about 20,000 crores and creating 2,000 employment. And next up, Transworld Group, investing about 710 crores and employment about 900. Transworld Group. All the best. And next up, may I call upon Hoven Pipers Private Limited, investing about 5,500 crores. Next up, Hyperchem, please be ready. Industries and Commerce Department. May I call upon Hyperchem Specialty Chemicals and Gases Private Limited, investing about 4,500 crores, creating 2,000 employment. Next up, Industries and Commerce Department, Websol Renewables Private Limited. Please be ready. Websol Renewables, Shree Cement. Please be ready. Industries and Commerce Department, Websol Renewables Private Limited, investing about 3,538 crores. Shree Cement Limited, Department Industries and Commerce. Shree Cement Limited, investing about 3,249 crores. And a second company of Shree Cement Limited, please be ready. And True Alt Bio, please be ready. Zate Energy Private Limited, please be ready. Industries and Commerce Department and company True Alt Bio, investing 2,250 crores, creating 500 employment. Krishna Agro, please be ready. Sigachi, please be ready. Industries and Commerce Department, Zate Energy Private Limited. Krishna Agro Fuels Private Limited. Industries and Commerce Department, Krishna Agro Fuels Private Limited, investing about 2,000 crores and creating 1,250 employment. Pollution Control Board, please be ready. And ACE Urban Developers, please be ready. Industries and Commerce Department, company Sigachi, investing 1,090 crores, creating 1,250 employment. First Element and Ecorin Energy, SR Renewables, please be ready. Sigachi. And may I call upon
Using conversational AI, their skill levels, across skill level, various trades. Across, so it could be a carpenter, air conditioning mechanic, carpenter, or air conditioning mechanic, all the way to an AI engineer, mechanic, all the way to an AI how we can use online and offline courses, how we can use online and offline courses to ensure they are reskilled, up to date, and they are able to adapt to the changes that are able to adapt to the changes that are happening. The second is the redefining productivity and redefining machine collaboration and human-machine collaboration. Honestly, AI is not a replacement. AI is not a replacement to a creative thinking. So the other day I was in a university and we were talking about higher ed reforms. higher ed
Vice Chancellor there was telling me that
the Vice Chancellor there was telling me that
almost all the letters
students
permissions
give
that they
for students
availing
give
medical
for
availing medical
leaves.
They were saying that everything is out of a chat
They
GPT.
were saying that
Everything is out of a chat GPT.
So my concern is our creative thinking.
My concern is our
cannot
creative
be outsourced
thinking
to AI.
cannot be
So it's
outsourced
very, very
to
important
AI.
to look at the
So it's very, very
fine line
important to look at
the way we're going to
fine
redefine
line,
productivity,
the way we're going
and
to
human
redefine
interaction.
productivity and
And
human
the third
interaction.
vertical, as I said, is
And the third vertical, as I said, is
reimagine inclusion.
reimagine inclusion. One challenge that I've seen every industrial revolution bring about is the divide between the haves and have-nots. And I'm genuinely concerned, and the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, has also raised this point multiple times, where the divide with AI should not grow. In fact, it should be a bridge and not a barrier for economic progress. So as a government, we are really excited on how we can use this AI revolution to bridge the gap between urban and rural and ensure that the underserved are really skilled. And AI enables us to build an amazing platform to do that. To sum it all up, the age of AI is here. It is not going to be a threat to humanity, but I believe it is an invitation to elevate humanity. And future will be built by us, by the thought leaders who are sitting here. I am a policy maker, I am a politician, I understand these two sectors quite well. But my ability to understand the corner of AI or where the turn is going to be is not there. But you understand this better. And all of us together should reimagine the way we're going to interact, the way we're going to do things together. And what we as a state here offer is a platform. A platform that will stand the test of time and politics, that will live its sense of purpose and ensure that the changes that we bring about is not merely cosmetic, but it's fundamental. And it will transform the way people of Andhra Pradesh, people of India will embrace and use AI going forward. So it's important that all of us ensure that future of work is not just about productive but purposeful. It's not just automated but augmented. It's not just intelligent but inclusive. Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister, thank you. Thank you very much for your insights onto what the impact, what we should try as a country, as government, as individuals, try and see how we can get the right leverage from AI. I'll now hand it over to Debjani. Debjani, if you could, what I'll request all the panelists, Debjani, maybe you can start. If you can make maybe 3 to 5 minutes of initial comments on how do you see AI shaping up, how do you see that impacting jobs or wider impact of, and from your vantage point, particularly how government is looking at it and how government is looking at frontier technologies would be very, very helpful. Over to you, Debjani.
Thank you, Rajiv. Hope I'm audible. Respected Minister, all distinguished guests on stage in the room, a very good morning. And Minister Lokesh, I'm very sorry I couldn't be there in person and experience the beautiful city, hoping to make up for it very soon. But a huge thanks to CII for the invite. Since this session is about AI and jobs, I'm so glad that, Minister, you said what you did, because I think it is time that we set to rest this debate that has been going on for a very long time on whether AI will impact jobs or not. The short answer, yes, it will. And it is important that we acknowledge this upfront, because that's only half the story. We need to now focus our time, our energy to what really matters, which is the other half of the story. How can India turn this disruption into a massive opportunity? So, as you said, job transitions driven by technology, they are not new. We have seen them from the printing press, textile automation, computers. Every wave disrupted jobs, but they created many more, and sometimes they created better ones, most times actually. So the job disruption, as I keep saying, is just one half of the story. And to understand the full picture, the Niti Frontier Tech Hub, along with the industry partners, undertook a very detailed study of India's 8 million tech workforce, of which 6 million is in the tech industry, 2 million in other industries. And let me, in these 3 minutes, share very briefly what the key findings were. First, yes, jobs will be disrupted. Areas like software development, customer experience, call centers, data entry operators, etc. AI is already giving a 15 to 20% productivity gain. And we believe this will get to around 40 to 50% very soon. This, we believe, will lead to around a 2 million disruption in the tech roles in India in the next 3 years. But that is again only half the picture. AI is also creating an entirely new universe of jobs. But it's very different. The jobs that are getting created are very different from the jobs that are getting displaced. These jobs are far more specialized. So roles like prompt engineer, AI DevOps engineer, AI architects, none of them existed 5 years back. You go and search Google or whatever your search engine is to see when these names started propping up. They started coming up in 2022. And today, they employ thousands of people globally and in India. So, but what we are seeing is there won't be one single large job category like we've had in the past, like data entry operator, which employed millions of people. Instead, what we will have is a combined growth of many specialized roles, which we expect will expand India's tech workforce significantly. And our estimate is it will add around 4 million more jobs to the country in the next few years, provided the tech spend stay the course. That's a major assumption we are building in. And two, we are building the right skills in the country. So, if we have to change this narrative, and I would sincerely request Andhra to take the lead in changing this narrative, the narrative has to shift from job loss to job transformation. And as we talk about job transformation, 3 things we need to look at. First, work will change. So we apply what we call a 3W lens. Work will change, as I've said. Second, workers will change. Today, a developer, it's not going to be enough for a developer to just know coding. They have to know LLM APIs, for example. QA engineers will need to know edge case analysis, for example. So the job roles are changing, the worker roles are changing. And third, the workforce pyramid is changing. The routine entry-level jobs that you've had at the starting point, the end of the pyramid, these are shrinking. The mid-level jobs are getting way more specialized. And then there's a new top layer of hyper-specialized jobs that is emerging, AI architects, AI DevOps, etc., etc. And this is a shift we cannot ignore as we build out the skills framework. So I'll sum up by saying AI is not going to create millions of similar jobs, but it will create thousands of deeply specialized jobs, which will result in millions of employment for the country. And we believe that if we can act with urgency, coherence, our tech and CX workforce can grow from 8 million today to 12 to 13 million by 2031, positioning India as one of the world's largest AI talent powerhouse. But there is a need for coherence. And this is why the Niti Frontier Tech Hub, in its study, has recommended that we need a national AI talent mission, which is a whole of government approach that brings together the different skilling initiatives that exist in silo into a national effort. So in closing, the difference between job loss and job creation, I strongly believe, will depend entirely on the choices we make today. We have the talent, we have the scale, and I do believe we have the intent. So now what we need is urgency, collaboration, and unity of purpose. And Minister, as Niti Frontier Tech Hub, we would love to partner with you, with CII, to see how Andhra Pradesh, the framework that you're building, how that can create a framework for the rest of the country to achieve this purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Debjani. Very clear comments. I think very similar to some of the findings that we have in the report, that it's the nature of jobs that will change, and how, as a country, as a society, how we equip ourselves to be ready for that change will determine our future with AI. So thank you very much. I will now hand it over. Maybe we'll start from this corner here. Joe is my partner in crime in EY. He is based in the Valley. Just came here for a day. So Joe, it'll be great to share your perspective. You heard a little bit about where India is, but it'll be great to get your perspective on what's happening around the world, in the world of AI, in context of jobs and generally overall how the development is going on.
Thank you, Rajiv, and thank you for the hospitality to CII. It's always amazing to be in India, and the hospitality of the people is something that I think is really special. From an innovation perspective, I think what's important is every single client and every single organization and every single government around the world is asking this same set of questions. The speed of technology evolution is something none of us have ever seen before. And so really there's three key components that are going to be required in this next wave of transformation. One is around the digital workforce. And when you think about the digital workforce, and we're in India today, what you're looking for is digitally native and AI-led workforce. India actually has the youngest workforce and the most generative AI usage in the world. So India is really well positioned from a workforce perspective. That's number one. The second component around the next wave of AI evolution is data infrastructure. So without data, there is no AI, and the data infrastructure is so critical. That includes everything from the infrastructure that the government sets up. It includes digital commerce, as well as the network capability that is in place. And again, India, I think, is leading the way from that perspective. The third is what we've talked a lot about already today, which is, I refer to it as the innovation muscle. So innovation muscle means the training, the reskilling, the culture, the entrepreneurial spirit of the organization or the country is going to be actually, in my opinion, the most important component as we think about the future of jobs. Now, to be clear, and I think we've heard this today, I think every industry is going to have a massive transformation as a result of AI. Every industry will be impacted. We are seeing some industries impacted more quickly than others. For example, finance and professional services. Those jobs can be, those jobs today that are repeatable, they can actually be automated with agentic AI. But every industry, from manufacturing to healthcare to life sciences to consumer packaged goods, will be impacted by AI. So when we think about jobs of the future, what we think about is there's three components. Level one is humans plus AI. That's actually what a lot of us are experiencing today. We're using Copilot, we're using other tools and technologies to help us do our jobs better. Some productivity gains, some quality gains, but not significant change yet. What I think is going to be really significant is level two, which is where humans manage agents. So if you think about that, that means that you need to onboard the agents, you have to recruit the agents, you have to train the agents, you have to certify the agents. This is an entirely new workforce that doesn't currently exist. That's going to be a big area of job growth. Level three is actually where humans are managing the intelligent orchestration of agents plus physical AI. So that's when things really start to progress very quickly, when you talk about agents and physical AI. And if you think about the job growth there, for example, physical AI, we talk about the actual data required to simulate these robots. We talk about the testing required to simulate these robots, and then the certification to put these in place. Some components around sovereign AI are really critical as well. So how do you actually orchestrate that at the local level, whether it's within a country or jurisdiction? So to me, as I think about India, I think that from a global perspective, it's massively ripe for really taking advantage of this next AI evolution. You have the right digital infrastructure in place. You certainly have the right talent. And I think the key is going to be, can we put together the right innovation muscle to train the next generation of workforce as quickly as possible? Because the world needs India to be successful, because that's going to be the next wave of growth from a technology perspective. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. You're right. I think both in terms of skilled workforce and also the amount of data that we have. I think if we can tap into that, whether using sovereign data or sovereign AI or other things, and also skilling our workforce and building use cases here, I think we could at least, on the innovation side, we may be slightly behind, but at least on the use case side and leveraging that internally for our efficiencies, I think it's a great, great opportunity. I'll now hand it over to Professor Soumitra Datta. He is been a dean in some of the leading universities in the world and is very actively, both from an academia and industry side, very actively engaged in AI and modern technology. So it'll be great to get your perspective, Professor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and good morning to everyone. We have already heard a number of very interesting comments, so I'll just try and complement that with some perhaps slightly contrarian perspectives. As a professor in academia, I'm very worried when I read reports like yesterday in the Wall Street Journal, when the journal is predicting that the 2026 class is seeing the worst year in terms of employment that they have seen in more than a decade. When I look at not just, for example, there's a lot of talk of reskilling, which is very important, I don't deny that, but what about the millions of young graduates coming out of university today? What about their jobs? What about their careers? I think these are very important questions ahead of us. Now, why do I raise this perspective? And just to get you involved a little bit in the discussion, let me just pose a question to you. And this is where I want you to raise your hand. How many of you think today AI, whatever you define as AI, is roughly equal to human capability, human intelligence, roughly whatever you define as that? Just raise your hand if you believe today we are roughly equal. Okay, very few hands. In 5 years' time from now, raise your hands. How many of you think will be roughly equal? Okay, many more. In 10 years' time. In 10 years' time, how many of you think? Pretty much everyone. Okay, thank you. Now, if you look at what human beings do, we do essentially 3 buckets of things. So we interpret patterns in data, whether it's marketing data, machine data, whatever. We create new patterns, creativity that you talked about earlier, and we form human relationships. Empathy, that's very important. Take the first part, interpreting data. Hands down, machines do it better. No question about that. Creating new patterns, creativity. Maybe you have a question mark on that, but believe me, today machines are almost as good in almost every domain. Now, you still have human designers in many domains, but they often are just orchestrating the output of machines, suggesting possible patterns out there. So machines are there or better than human beings in most of that area. You might argue and say empathy is just for human beings. That's what machines cannot do. Have you heard of a bot in China called Yonsei, which is the real-life girlfriend of more than 600 million Chinese males? Now, this is not a joke. This is a real-life implementation of the movie Her, in which the man falls in love with the operating system, released in 2013. Now, you might think, well, these are funny examples, but guess what? Bots are now being used for psychological counseling, counseling teenagers, people with mental health conditions, and they're actually often seen as better than human counselors. So what I'm just trying to say is that if you look at all the 3 dimensions, analyzing patterns, creating new patterns, forming relationships, machines are actually getting there. Now, if you look at what's at stake out here, so on one hand, you have the pressure to keep on automating, improving efficiency, and that's where we talk about AI being used more and more in industry, and that's very good. Productivity is an important goal to achieve. But we also have to think about humanity, because as machines and people become 2 equal resources, it is our decisions as leaders in industry and government about how do we build the balance between humans and machines. That is a very important notion, that decisions that we make will decide which way we tip the balance. Now, what is at stake out here? If you tip the balance more towards productivity, of course, in principle, you're helping the economy. And the pressure will be to, in fact, push the economy, push productivity as much as possible. That's one reason why you will see a lot of companies now slowing down hiring, a lot of companies, in fact, using AI much more to do different things in their own organizations. But the risk out there is if you go too hard on that pedal of productivity and economy goes up, you risk human dignity. Because we as human beings, our core, the industrialized society in which we live, a core element of human dignity is the ability to be able to earn a living, to be able to do a day's work, and to be able to put food on the table for the family. Now, how do you in fact balance the two is, I think, the most important decision in front of us. And I don't think, honestly, today that most companies, most national governments are really looking at that in a sensible, deep manner. Today, the often politically correct approach is, well, technology is there to empower people. It'll make you better. It'll make you, in fact, more productive. And that's politically acceptable. That's politically more sellable. Even in the tech companies, it is an easier sales argument to say that, well, technology will actually enable you and help you become better. What about the fact of large-scale unemployment? What about the fact when people don't have full jobs? That is not an unreal prospect. Look at what's happened in agriculture, manufacturing, and services. Agriculture, mechanization in the West, employment has shrunk dramatically. Manufacturing, go to the latest manufacturing shops, typically in anywhere in the world, the number of people employed has become very, very small. It's mainly robots, mainly machines. In services, today, of course, you have a lot of people employed, but the reason for that is mainly that humanoid robots are not yet at the price value point at which you can use them, replace humans. Because the cost ratio is just simply too high, the value ratio is too poor. So we're not yet at that point of replacement. What will happen in 10 years' time when humanoid robots will become cheap enough and good enough to replace replace a nurse, replace a hotel worker? That is the big question mark for us that we have to grapple with. So let me stop out there, but I just want to say that I think the real question, the real challenges out here that I don't think we are really fully addressing in government and industry.
Thanks, Sumitru. Thanks for a slightly different viewpoint. And just on humanoid robot, that's where China is investing the most. So if you go to China, their largest investment in AI is not computational AI, but humanoid robots. So that change will also come much, much faster than what we are anticipating. I'll now pass it on to Sharon. Sharon is an executive director, lead at Korea University. Sharon, your opening remarks, please.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Although I study technology, it really evades me. I really appreciate the comments by my panelists. Maybe I thought of providing a little bit of a different perspective, given that instead of looking on top and in the future, I look in the reality right now. I'm Canadian, but I've been in India 17 years and vastly invested in talking to every corner in the rural areas in the field and bringing back stories to forums like CII or even to the government to see what's going on. One of the key learnings, two things I learned from India. There are several decades in one country. Some people are at the forefront of the decade, like one of our panelists. I'll talk to you about the big majority are still in a previous decade that we need to bring in on board for the inclusion story the Honorable Minister mentioned as well. The other thing I understood from India is averages don't work. India, you have to look at extremes to understand what's going on in this country. So given that I'm in front of a panelist and in front of a crowd of a lot of business people, I'll focus my work on the opportunity and the productivity topic where I work a lot in the space of gender, where the topic of integrating women in the labor force is a huge one here. So I'll focus on the positive aspects of AI is to making women more visible. I think 70% of women businesses are at home. They don't have access to networks like men do. They cannot go outside. So I have seen a lot of positive aspects to see how can women be embedded in online platforms like ONDC, which are not perfect yet, but allows them to sort of like be more visible. And if women are more visible, they'll have better access and better opportunity to markets, but also finance. One of the key things of business is you need to have access to credit and finance and opportunities, no? So the opportunity offered by women is immense. I think women can have those digital trails, women can have access to networks and opportunity, and women could be more visible. So that's one aspect I feel that's very important. I think that would also increase a lot the work for women. The other aspect that I see as well that's a huge opportunity is digital-enabled work, where a lot of the women are frontline workers, where they're ASHA workers, Angawadi workers, and they're just starting to have access to digital to improve their productivity in their work. And that also trickles down to government. The quicker that these ASHA workers, these Angawadi workers, they are your data collector, the better that will impact also decision making at the policy levels. For the Angawadi workers, you can see as well, the better they put the systems in the dashboard, the quicker the decisions the government can make in a centralized perspective, knowing that India is very heterogeneous as well. Even ASHA workers, Angawadi workers. The other perspective that we see a lot is this: we don't think about the AI system, and this is the decade that's different than your colleague, is that I remember the first thing when we started digital AI work, we talked to the ministry mate team, Mr. Krishna, our secretary. Actually, the first task he asked us to look us in the PLI scheme, the Samsung and things like that, where the government of India gives a lot of money. And we see that that's one of the areas where women are enabling the AI ecosystem by chip production, etc. One of our high recommendations is one of the areas where women can contribute as an entry point, but it's very important that they're able to escalate that system, no? So what we've noticed, and when we studied the PLI scheme, is that yes, women are part of building AI, but they're at the low entry. So our recommendations would see you need to make sure that women are not just because they have small fingers and all, they can assemble stuff. How do we make sure that women have systems that enable them to grow and supervise? So we encourage the government to collect data on that front. I think that's quite critical. On that front as well, talking to the ministry, and this is a very India context. So India is a very big consumer and producer of digital AI. It's not a great designer. So, and very few women also are part of the design, and very few people in general. I think India itself designs their own maybe 15%, which is staggering. And I think that's where an area where you need to integrate and be more exclusive. Not only women, even people from remote communities, tribal areas. I've seen fabulous examples from that front. Lastly, I think one of the areas where we see a lot, and we call it maybe digital embedded work, and that relates to the colleague from Ernst & Young, where you see that there's a whole movement of gig economy happening in rural areas where, and it's a fabulous initiative from the Bashini, the Indian government, to try to democratize AI through languages. And I don't know if everyone saw the movie Human in the Loop recently, where they showcase that this allows women to be able to do work in their phone here. They can do maybe 10 hours of work when they can, when they're available in their local language. It also helps to integrate, making sure that biases that are in our regular work are not integrated in AI or digital, because I think the speed of AI and digital goes very quickly. So this is actually a great opportunity to make sure that we don't repeat that online. I think those are the opportunities, and we are working as well to make sure that women starting to have, it's not only having access to a phone. I see a lot of this initiative from the government say access to the phone. You need opportunity, you need initiative, you need support. And we've learned from some systems as well, like the government said, we will give a phone, but those phones break. Those phones need investment in data points every month, no? Those phones also need to be replaced. And that's critical as well to see. So there needs to be a whole big portion of India that needs to be integrated in all of that digital AI ecosystem there. I'll leave it to my colleague somewhere else, and a pleasure to connect, yeah.
Thanks, Sharon. We're sorry to interrupt, but we were running out of time. Jeremy, you're the last one. So my only request is if we can make it short. Sorry for this, but I know the minister has to leave, so thank you.
Both of us have a task.
That's right. So actually, I think I'm supposed to join the minister shortly, and I'll come to that at the end. So first, it's really a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate the hospitality of the government in Andhra Pradesh, of our partners at the CII, and all of the people that I've met during the visit. One of the key things that I think is most important is that we have a very, very strong partnership with the CII. And I think that I'd like to start with the challenge. We've heard a little bit on the numbers in India, from Joe also what that means in finance and professional services. The World Economic Forum has done research looking at 1 billion jobs globally. We interviewed 1,000 large companies across 55 countries and understood what this means for the future of their workforces. And what we saw is that we will lose roughly 92 million jobs in the next 5 years. 90 million jobs will disappear in the next 5 years. And that isn't even before we talk about all the jobs that need to be reskilled. But the good news is there's an opportunity to create 170 million new jobs. But those new jobs won't come on their own. It will take conscious action. It'll take programs from employers in how they design, how they reskill their resources. It'll require partnerships between universities, corporations, and the state to prepare the next generation of talent for those roles. It also means that we actually have to adapt to a new workforce, because many of those jobs won't come from the large traditional industries. They'll come from entrepreneurs. And those entrepreneurs will need new support networks. They'll need digital public infrastructure, building on what you have in India here with Aadhaar or UPI. But we'll also need a digital infrastructure that allows for cybersecurity, that allows for SMEs to be able to scale and unlock capabilities. So all those things are going to come together. So massive challenge, but also significant opportunity that requires conscious action. Now, one of the reasons I'm here today in Andhra Pradesh is because we think that Andhra Pradesh will be a hub for this future vision of how to create an economy that brings dignity and opportunity to employees. We look at programs like the Naipunyam with the expertise that will actually have a skills database that we can actually train workers. We'll be launching today a Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, focusing on energy and cybersecurity. Because before you get to the AI and before you need the data, you need the energy to actually power the data centers, to power the algorithms. And you also need to make sure that it's secure. And this is one of the reasons we focus on cybersecurity. There's roughly 4 million jobs that are in shortfall today in cybersecurity. So this creates an opportunity for new workforces, new roles, and new opportunities. And last is we really appreciate, I think there's roughly 70% of the graduates here in Andhra Pradesh are focused on STEM roles. That will prepare them well to enter the new workforce, but they'll also need to be continuously skilled, continuously updating their education in those opportunities. And this is something that we look forward to partnering with Andhra Pradesh to help prepare that future workforce, to help prepare the future economy. And I think together we can contribute to a nation and a global economy that's more prosperous, more equitable, and more meaningful for everyone in it. So thank you, Rajiv, and thank you to the Minister for hosting us here today.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, you've heard different perspectives, different dimensions of this. And I know you have a grand vision, and the state has a grand vision on how you leverage AI, technology, various new themes that are coming around the world. So one is just general thoughts on what you've heard, but also I'm particularly keen on, for AI to be successful, how do you capture data? And what are you doing as a state to be effective from a data standpoint?
Well, after the session, I thought I'll have some answers, but I walk out with more questions. Thanks to Soumitra here. But the points raised are very valid. I think we need to think through the nuances as we go about, doing what we are supposed to do in this industrial revolution. See, as a state, we are talking about energy transition. It's easy said than done, because wind speeds predictability, cloud formation, so solar efficiency, then your ability to sort of pump up traditional forms of energy to sort of give the transition, especially with data centers that require higher reliability, is a big challenge. And that is exactly where we're using AI. our ability to predict, understand this. In terms of state, we are one of the very few states, and I was actually quite pleasantly surprised that I had counterparts in Australia at the state level who have something called Minister for Customer Service. It's similar to what we are trying to achieve in real-time governance, is how do you deliver governance at the doorstep of the citizen whilst keeping in mind the entire data that we are able to capture and give a much more predictive analysis. So a great example of that is how we've handled the recent cyclone, which we thought will be a lot more intensive, but our ability to understand where it's going to land, the speed at which, the track, we were far better than the other institutions out there because we have over a period of time built those data sets, we are able to hone on those data sets, and that will again be very core to us as we go forward. So as a state, we are continuing to collect the data points that are relevant for us to ensure better governance delivery. But then yes, we also have to keep in mind the ethical framework on how this data is going to be used and not be used against underprivileged sections of the society. So that's equally going to be important. And that is why we have something called the Core Data Authority that has the framework in place to ensure that this is not used against them. But then honestly, I think all of us sitting here are just trying to understand what is AI, its implications on humanity and how it's going to change our lives here. Definitely 5 years from now, maybe the 35th Partnership Summit that we're going to do here, I think we'll come back and reflect on whether we got our predictions right or we were off. I think because all of us here are pretty much guessing where we'll be 5 years from now.
Thank you very much. I think we are run out of time. I think only thing I probably like to add, Honourable Minister, and hearing everyone, very insightful comments from all the panelists, is it is a reality, and the question is, how do you make the most of it? I mean, you can see half full, half empty. Different people can have different perspectives. But if this is going to come, then as a country, as a society, as an organization, how do you make the most from this? Be ready, be prepared for this transition. And I think that's what, at every level, I can see that there's a worry, there is fear, but there's also some sense of opportunity of change. And I think what Debjani mentioned, what they're looking at from a government standpoint, if they're able to create that institution, that will be really good. So before I let you go, CII in partnership with EY, we have put together a report, and we would be really grateful if you could launch the report, which captures the present state of agentic AI in India.
May I invite Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee and Mr. Hari Balaji, leader EY India's Center of AI Excellence, to please come on stage for the release of this report. Ladies and gentlemen, this report is on AI. Is India ready for agentic AI? Ladies and gentlemen, the report on AI is India ready for agentic AI. Let's have a huge round of applause for the release of this very important report. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for doing the honours in releasing this report. Ladies and gentlemen, may I please invite Dr. Mrs. Suchitra Kela, Vice President of CII and Co-founder and Managing Director of Bharat Biotech International Limited, to kindly come on stage. We have the MOU exchange between CII and Bharat Biotech Limited. I request Ms. I'll request Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, Director General of CII, to kindly join in for the MOU exchange. Ladies and gentlemen, this is between CII and Bharat Biotech Limited. Through this initiative, CII Bharat Biotech will equip 30,000 youth in Vijayawada with soft and employability skills and provide career counseling and placements over the next 5 years. This is being done under the gracious presence of our Honorable Minister, the MOU's exchange between CII and Bharat Biotech Limited. Let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We will now present the mementos. May I please request President CII to kindly do the honors in presenting the mementos. May I request Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee to kindly say a few words on the report. May I please request President CII to kindly present a memento to Honorable Minister. Let's have a huge round of applause for Honorable Minister. He's indeed given a lot of his precious time and been deeply involved and participated in the sessions, giving his deep insights and guidance. He's doing the honors of presenting the mementos to all the speakers.
After you're done, I just want to make this small.
I request our speakers to kindly come forward. May I please request speakers to kindly come forward for the memento presentation. May I request Ms. Sharon Buter to please come forward for the memento presentation. Can we have the applause going, ladies and gentlemen? And request President CII to please do the honors in presenting and while stating Honorable Minister. And Honorable Minister has decided that he will instead felicitate President CII, as he says he's the host. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause. Before we conclude this session, I just want to invite Dr. Mrs. Suchitra Kailash. She would be saying a few words regarding this very important MOU exchange. Madam, may I please request you to say a few words?
I just would like to make a small remark to the Honorable Minister and to the Government of Andhra Pradesh. Yesterday I had made a statement about our commitment in ensuring that we will participate in skilling and livelihoods and employment generation for the state of Andhra Pradesh. And here is, today we have just demonstrated a very small step in that into that goal of ours, and we will extrapolate it further going in the few years, in the following years, to take it as much as possible in order to upscale, skill, create livelihoods and employment for the youth and women of Andhra Pradesh. Honorable Minister, thank you so much for your time in accommodating this request for us. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Suchitra Kerala. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we conclude the session and we'll be immediately moving on to the valedictory session which will be happening here in this hall. So you all requested to kindly remain with us and we will just make the necessary table arrangements before moving on to the valedictory session. Can you kindly not switch off this mic, please? We are now going to start the valedictory session. May I please request people onto my left not to crowd this area? We have the Honorable Chief Minister arriving in just a few minutes to this stage. So I'll request people onto my right, onto my left to kindly clear this area, and also people at the back, if I may request everyone to kindly take the respective seats.
Check, check. Check, check.
Please don't switch off the mic on this podium. Kindly let it be on.
Hal. Check, check. Test, test. Check, check, check. Test one. Test one.
will be commencing the valedictory session in just a few minutes from now. Honorable CM of Andhra Pradesh, Shri N. Chandrababu Naidu ji, will be joining us for this valedictory session along with a host of esteemed dignitaries. We request you to kindly settle down and take your respective seats, especially people in the front. If I may please request you to take your respective seats. We will begin the valedictory session very shortly, in a few moments from now. And just a gentle reminder to all to kindly switch off your mobile phones or put it on the silent mode during the entire proceedings of the valedictory session. Thank you. Thank you so much for your patience.
కాంటాక్ట్ నెంబర్ నేను అక్కడ పెడతా అంటే అందరూ ఆన్లైన్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ I am not discarding this copy in case you also are.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been informed that Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh is just about to reach and will be joining us at the plenary hall for the valedictory session. We once again request you to please settle down, and a gentle reminder to kindly switch off your mobile phones or put it on the silent mode during the entire proceedings of the valedictory session. A very warm welcome to our esteemed dignitaries who have joined us for the valedictory session. My request to you all to please welcome them with a big round of applause.
In Andhra Pradesh, tomorrow takes shape. Here, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. This is Andhra Pradesh, shaping the future. Where every sunrise sparks a new idea. Where tradition meets transformation. Where imagination becomes infrastructure. From water, we build resilience. From energy, we build hope. This is where impossibility turns into invention. Where quantum dreams power real worlds. The future is engineered here. From AP to AI, we power intelligence with intent. Where data learns and dreams accelerate. Where innovation becomes identity. From textile looms to turbines, from food to future tech, we make in Andhra Pradesh. Today, we build for tomorrow in electronics, aerospace, and space. The world's factories of the future are taking shape here. Our ports, rails, and roads drive growth. But the new Andhra Pradesh builds beyond connections. It builds convergence. Efficiency is our new infrastructure. At the heart of Andhra Pradesh rises a city of the future, Amravati, rooted in heritage, designed for tomorrow. A capital shaped by ideas, not just buildings. Governance in Andhra Pradesh runs at the speed of trust, where decisions are digital, delivery is real. Swarna Andhra 2047, a promise powered by people and led with vision. Andhra Pradesh, shaping the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being so patient and being with us. We will commence the valedictory session with on the arrival of the Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri N. Chandrababu Naidu ji. He will be joining us in just a few moments from now, and then we will commence the valedictory session.
Give.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the valedictory session of the Partnership Summit, of the 30th Partnership Summit. And it's a great pride, pleasure, and honor to welcome our Honorable Chief Minister once again to be with us. It's actually spent the last 3 days completely with all delegates, with all members who have approached him. I think he has not regretted to anyone to meet, but he has given time, he has given space, he has interacted, and he spent that type of time. And this is just amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming warmly the Honorable Chief Minister, the host of the Partnership Summit. Honorable Chief Minister, you and your colleagues in Andhra Pradesh have really, under your leadership, laid out the red carpet for business and laid out the red carpet for Indian as well as global business. Sir, through your leadership, we have seen partnerships developing between global businesses over here in Vizag. We have seen partnerships develop in the Partnership Summit between Indian and the global businesses. We have seen B2B as well as B2G partnerships, lots of governmental interactions between your government, other government, our government of India, and of course with even some of the other states of other countries participating in that. So we have seen partnerships also in terms of how business, the think tanks, the experts, the governments partner in terms of creating livelihood, in terms of creating partnership for education, in terms of creating partnership for health, And in fact, we have seen how we can leverage leverage technology and technology partnerships. So it's all been about partnership, but these partnerships would not have been possible to have been initiated without the phenomenal care, warmth, leadership, and hospitality that you really meted out to all of us and everyone present in this hall, and also many who have come and visited you. What an outstanding dinner, sir, it was last night. It enthralled everyone. We were all delighted that you have personally given so much of attention. And today in this hall, if you ask many of our guests who are seated with you on the dais, sir, they know what Araku coffee is. And they are taking bag full of Araku coffee back home, sir. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll hear some of the feedback from some of our countries who are present here as to how things went and how it is. And then we will, of course, listen to our Honorable Chief Minister. With that, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you very much for being with us for the last 2.5 days, which has been outstanding. Your participation has been the most important part also of this beautiful journey which we have embarked upon in terms of looking at India and looking at Indian states positively. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll first turn to our speaker from Germany, Dr. Rodney Rivera, the cluster coordinator, private sector developments in skilling and TVET, one of the very important facets that was talked upon. And I know Germans did great business during the Partnership Summit over here. Rodney, would you like to come up here, Rodney? Come up here. Would you like to come up here, Rodney? Yeah.
Thank you, and good afternoon to everyone, Honorable Chief Minister and fellow panelists. It's a great honor to be here. It's been, my view, a very great event. We have managed, along with my team from the GIZ, to meet with a good number of very active and very interested businessmen. So from that view, it's been a success. And the GIZ has been and will continue to work in Andhra Pradesh. I think we currently have 7 projects or 8 projects ongoing in the state. We have a project, for example, working in agroecology to reduce the carbon impact of rice farmers. We have a project that is working on the 500 gigawatts target for renewable energies in India. I think we heard that AP has set the target of 160 gigawatts from this state alone. And for that, we have been here to make connections for the platform for investment in renewable energies that the German government and the Indian government has launched last year. We are building that up to help the state to reach its ambitious targets. We have other projects that are ongoing, and we look forward to continued great cooperation and great work with the government of AP. For the CII organizers, I just have to say hats off. It's been a very, very impressive logistics operation that they have done. They have brought together leaders from all over the world, in fact, to help to promote business and to bring business forward in the development of the state. And thank you once again for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Rodney. I'll stay with Europe and go to Netherlands, the Netherlands-India Chamber of Commerce. Chair, may I request Dr. Edith Notman. Edith, please.
Honorable Chief Minister, distinguished guests, it has been a privilege to be part of this dialogue here in Andhra Pradesh, a state that is clearly positioning itself at the forefront of India's next phase of industrial and technological growth. The government here distinguished itself with the Chief Minister and his ministerial crew that they are willing to listen to the business community and the entrepreneurs. And by the way, I have learned a new word here, which I will take home, which is the Andhrapreneur. And this vision really is not only a vision showing it, and that's definitely something that I'm bringing home back to the Netherlands, that it is amazing to dream, to have a vision, but this government and this chief minister is also making it happen. He has shown to have done it, and he will do it again. And our politicians can definitely learn from Andhra Pradesh and these inspiring leaders. And it is highly appreciated and seen how vibrant and energizing the atmosphere is here, because quite honestly, to tell you the truth, when I first heard that the CII Partnership Summit would be in Andhra Pradesh, I first didn't understand until I reached here and I sensed the energy. And I'm sure that we from Europe not only can learn from this political leadership, but also do a lot of business together, bringing Europe and the Netherlands and Andhra Pradesh together and making it happen, because this is really where not only the ease of business is, but definitely the speed of business. And I've never heard and seen a state that says we will listen to you and make sure that the laws will adapt in a way in which we will make business possible. And that's something which is highly inspiring. I want to thank this enormous leadership, this inspiring leadership, and also CII for bringing the summit here. It has been highly inspirational, and I'm energized going back and taking business back to Andhra Pradesh. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Edith, for those wonderful words. I now turn to the other part of the world and go to another friend of India, Jody McKay, the Director of Australia-India CEO Forum and Business Council of Australia.
Thank you very much, Tandrajit. I want to start, Chief Minister, by acknowledging you and thanking you so much for hosting all of us here today on behalf of the Business Council of Australia. Just the energy that has been demonstrated by this state in terms of moving forward economically has been so inspiring. We are an MOU partner with the Confederation of Indian Industry, and so this partnership summit is important to us. To you, Mr. Banerjee and Mr. Menon, thank you so much for the friendship, the commitment that you give us as a partner of CII. We are greatly appreciative of that. And that is important because our two governments are engaged right now in negotiating the second stage of our free trade agreement. That is only possible when you have business working together. This could not have come at a better time for us because our Consul General, who is here with us today, hosted Minister Lokesh in Australia 3 weeks ago. I was very fortunate to be able to take him on the beautiful Sydney Harbour with our wonderful harbour bridge and Sydney Opera House, and I know he was impressed. But I come here and I see the beauty of Andhra Pradesh and your coastline, which is just breathtaking. So it's not just the beauty of this state, it is also the economic potential and the hunger that Andhra Pradesh has demonstrated to take forward this state. So again, Chief Minister, I thank you and the Andhra Pradesh government for hosting us. On behalf of Australia, thank you to all of you.
Thank you very much, Jody. Now we move back to New Zealand.